dream analysis is really like a Sherlock Holmes detective work going on. You really have to look at all the details and see how they fit in and merge into one another and correlate with one another. Hey guys, welcome back to Dream Analytica. I've got a really cool dream from an individual that I would like to share with you. It's publicly available on my website that you can check out. What I'm going to do today is to interpret his dream and teach you how I go about interpreting people's dreams. It's a very short dream, but it's a very powerful one at that. And I'm not going to name the individual, so we'll just use an alias for now. And this dream is from D. So I'm going to read the dream and I'll leave it up here for you to read along with me. I'm walking through the woods. I step in a bear trap. It collapses on my leg. I scream and I wake up. It's a very short dream, but the imagery is very vivid and you can kind of see and feel what these emotions in the dream convey. And let's break it down in terms of the dream itself and sort of see what the overall message is for the dreamer. The very first thing I look at is the feelings that are being conveyed through the dream. The very first thing I look at as well is the scene. How is the scene set up? So in this case, I'm walking through the woods. So there you have the scene being set up by the dream. Now, if you can imagine yourself being pin dropped in the middle of some random forest or woods, how would you feel? That's exactly what his psychological situation might be conveying here. In that, just like being lost in the woods, we may feel lost, confused, disoriented, without direction. I could safely assert that that might be his psychological situation in this case. So I am walking through the woods. I could say that his psychological state is aimless, directionless, a feeling or a sense of feeling lost. The next part of the dream, which ties in with the imagery of the woods, is I step in a bear trap. So there's a lot going on here, although it may not seem like it at first glance. Imagine stepping into a bear trap. I mean, that's a very painful and anxiety-inducing situation. So you can sort of see now his psychological situation in line with being or feeling lost in the forest or the woods. He is also having a feeling of this very panicky and anxious state of being, a very anxious feeling, and it collapses on his legs. And there we have another symbol, which are the legs, and I've mentioned this in many other videos too. The legs are an important symbol in dreams. They are our connection to the ground, and the ground usually represents earth or reality, and his legs can also represent mobility, his way of moving forward in life. So that also is in line with walking through the woods, where he is aimlessly walking or moving about in terms of psychology. So he is moving through life in an aimless direction, and then he steps in a bear trap. He screams and wakes up. Now, screaming and waking up is a huge indication here that this dream is more of a nightmare than it is a nice dream. And whenever we scream and wake up in dreams, that is our unconscious essentially jerking us to wake up, to come back down to reality, that the psychological situation is now urgent. It needs to be made conscious. And so this dream is essentially trying to illustrate that his feeling of stuckness is trying to come to consciousness. It's trying to wake him up so that he knows what is causing him to be stuck in this situation. The other cool thing that we should ask about this dream is, who put the bear trap there? Dream analysis is really like a Sherlock Holmes detective work going on. You really have to look at all the details and see how they fit in and merge into one another and correlate with one another. So who set the bear trap? Well, the dream came from the dreamer. So you could say he put the bear trap there. So he is responsible for feeling stuck in his psychological situation, or rather feeling stuck in life. And I actually did follow up with D, and I asked him two questions. The first one was, how old are you? The second one was, are you feeling stuck in life or in a situation? To which he replied to me that he is 23 and that he does have instances where he does feel stuck in life, and that this dream is a recurring dream. So there are periods in his life where he does feel stuck, Although the dream does not always coincide with his external situation of feeling stuck and then the dream occurring, sometimes the dream will occur when he may not be even thinking or feeling stuck in the moment. What that means is just that some psychological situation is unresolved. And the really cool thing about recurring dreams is once the analysis is done correctly, the dream usually stops recurring. This is not the case for all dreams, but for the most part, if I interpret a dream for a client that recurs pretty often or consecutively, that dream usually stops recurring. Like one really common recurring dream is being chased, usually by the shadow. So when I interpret their dream and I tell them, you literally just need to stop running from your shadow qualities, that is enough to stop the dream from recurring. And the reason why is because he or she has brought that unconscious message to consciousness. And remember, in dream analysis, dreams only tell you what you do not know about yourself. So once you make it conscious, there's no real need for the unconscious to convey that message anymore because you did the work. You made it conscious, which is really the hardest part, is trying to understand what the dream message is and then bringing it to consciousness. And that is the goal of dream analysis, to reveal to us all the hidden aspects within our psyche, to make it conscious, to make us realize things about ourselves we don't know, to connect us to a divine world, to make us whole. And the only way to become whole is by making light of the shadow aspects. And that's what dreams are for. And that's what dreams help us do. It also helps us rebalance our psychology as well. What I would recommend this individual to do, first of all, I don't hand out advice. I don't think an appropriate thing to do is hand out advice. His dream already has solved the situation. In this case, it's by screaming and waking up, meaning come to consciousness, and you can feel exactly what he may have been feeling at the time when a bear trap collapses on your leg. It's a jerk, it's a scream to pay attention. So what he can do now is, there's a reason he's stepping on the bear trap and that this dream happens more than once. It's most likely he's walking through life sort of unaware of his surroundings, meaning he's not conscious of what is lurking beneath the surface. He's not paying attention to where he's stepping. He's putting his foot because he keeps stepping on the trap. So what that ultimately means is that he needs to be more in tune with his surroundings, so to speak, psychologically speaking. The forest is also another good metaphor for the unconscious. Just like our unconscious is mysterious, the forest is as well mysterious. There's no trodden path, there's no paved way for you to follow. Our unconscious is similar to that. There's no linear direction in which you can travel. You have to go about it your own way, just like in a forest. You have to trust your intuition to make it out of the forest, so to speak. If this individual is stepping in a bear trap that he put there psychologically, meaning his unconscious is pretty much trying to tell him that the reason you are feeling trapped or stuck in life is because you're not paying attention, or that you yourself are the cause for your own feeling of stuckness, that you put the bear trap there. You didn't know you put the bear trap there, but you did, because that's what appeared in the dream. You psychologically implemented these bear traps, and because you're not aware that you put these bear traps, you're stepping on them constantly. And then that results in the feeling of stuckness in life. Now, I don't know this individual well. We've only communicated once. So there's a lot that I don't know about this person. This interpretation is purely based on the symbols and his one response to me. It's very difficult work, but you can sort of say that whatever the bear trap of his life is, it was placed there by himself, psychologically speaking. So what he can do is quite literally just imagine himself walking through that forest again and avoiding the bear traps, being more conscious. And that's what dream analysis is really trying to help us do, is to become more conscious of ourselves. Imagine just walking through a forest and now paying attention to the ground that you're stepping on, paying attention to the leaves, paying attention to the bark on the tree, the different types of foliage. There's so much you can pay attention to, but in the dream, it's indicating that psychologically speaking, he's not paying attention to these little minute details of his life. So maybe he should simply start paying attention more consciously to his surroundings and see that there's so much more that life has to offer. That feeling of stuckness is his own cage, so to speak. It's his own trap that he put himself in. So thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for this dream. Feel free to share your dream with me publicly or privately if you would like. I can talk about it and help you analyze your dreams as well. I also developed an application available on the App Store where you can learn how to interpret your own dreams. It also talks about analytical psychology and typology. And by the way, this individual is an INFP. That gives you an indication. Just like an INTP, we spend a lot of times in our heads. So our sensation aspect is, I think, relegated to the unconscious, more so than our thinking or feeling aspect. Sensation is responsible for dealing with tangible things, tangible objects in reality. And that kind of ties in with exactly what my interpretation was saying as well, that there's a detachment from reality, or there's a sort of inconsistency between paying attention to his surroundings and his thoughts. So thank you so much for watching, and tune in for the next one.